I was down bad in life when COVID hit in 2020. I couldn't, I just didn't have hope. I was kind of miserable in a way, stuck in a small room, sheltered. And although I was living with my family, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't have a future. I just couldn't fathom being in that scenario, in that life. But one book changed it, and it was so simple. I couldn't believe how simple it was. Today I'll be telling you a Jedi mind trick that really changed my life, and I hope it will change yours. By the way, before I talk about the mindset, if you're new here, my name is Banza. I'm based in Colorado. I'm a university student studying economics. And I basically on this channel, I basically talk about personal development, tips for young men like me. I don't know anything better than you. I'm not in any way know more. I don't know much things actually, but what I want to do on this channel is be relatable. And I know that you are probably struggling with self-improvement and you just want to have a better quality of life, is not only in terms of monetary but also in terms of relationships and fulfillment, just more meaningful way of living. Simply, I just want to relate. That's it. So I wish for both of us to progress in life. So let's get started. There's two concepts that you have to know. It's the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. These are two fundamental mindsets that you have to know. I graduated high school. It was after my high school graduation that I was fully convinced that I couldn't get into college. And for a young man that graduated high school and was hoping for a better future, being declined with going to college is kind of scary, and I'm sure you can relate as well. But what fully convinced me that I wasn't progressing, that I was stuck, was the fact that it was a meeting. I went to a meeting. I went to meet my principal before graduation. And what she told me was, you have to be realistic, Banza. You can't really go to college because your grades are not high enough. It's just a simple fact you have to accept. But right when COVID hit, and I was remembering after graduation that I was remembering what she said. I was remembering what the principals told me. And although I was really sad, although I was depressed, although I couldn't really imagine what to do. So I had two roads. I had to either try my best to do some other tests and to write better essays instead of relying on my grades to get into college, or forget about going to college and doing a thing, I guess you could say, and become a monk, be like a hermit, just be a monk. That was my other choice that I was fully committed to. And it was so scary because I couldn't imagine myself being a monk, but that was the other way, and that was the other lifestyle that I was going to choose. But right when COVID hit, and although I was contemplating about either being a monk or being a college student, a potential college student, I came across a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck. And the title was very cheesy. I didn't really believe that I would learn something from it, honestly. I thought it was a waste of time, but I was also kind of hopeful that I would learn something insightful. So I read it, and it was awesome. It was a great read. I learned a lot, and the craziest thing I learned was the growth mindset that I should cultivate, that I should live with. And I realized that till then, when I read the book, I had a fixed mindset in everything that I do. All these new skills that I learned, I just had a fixed mindset, and it just wasn't good. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't sustainable. Now, during this book, I didn't become a monk. As you can see, I'm not bald. I don't have ropes, like red ropes around me. But I am a college student. That is what I chose to do. I'm studying economics now. And I'm grateful to learn from these professors. Not many people are grateful, but this book made me grateful because I have a growth mindset. Obviously, it doesn't mean that I have a growth mindset in everything that I do, but it's a lot more than fixed mindset, which is the worst path that you want to have, which is the worst mindset that you want to have. So you better have a growth mindset. That's what I have. All right, you heard the whole long spiel of my story of having a growth mindset and fixed mindset. Here's the definition. A growth mindset means that you believe your intelligence and talents can be developed over time. A fixed mindset means that you believe intelligence is fixed. So if you are not good at something, you might believe you will never be good at it. And these are the two core definitions and meanings that I learned from reading the book. I was self-limiting myself in everything that I did and everything that I do. And it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't healthy. I was not progressive. I was not excited. I wasn't curious. That's deadly. The 7 qualities of a person with a growth mindset. First, they believe that intelligence can be improved. Intelligence is not a limit for them. It's always progressing. Intelligence is something that they have cultivated, and they wish to be a lifelong student. Intelligence is not something that they always put in. The growth mindset person always puts in more effort to learn. The person is a lifelong learner and not a 4-year learner or an education learner, but he treats life as his education. Failures are not setbacks for him. It's always a learning experience. He's willing to embrace challenges no matter what, and actually searches for more challenges as he lives. He never sees people's success as a failure to himself. He always views it as an inspiration for himself. Most people are probably suffering from social media because they don't have a healthy mindset. Seeing it as a inspiration, seeing it as a learning opportunity, but they always compare that lifestyle to themselves. Now here are the six qualities of a fixed mindset person. A fixed mindset person believes that there's only talent, there's no hard work. A fixed mindset person thinks whatever he knows is only that he knows, he doesn't know more. A fixed mindset person always avoids failures because he doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of people. Ignores feedbacks from people and has a tremendous ego too. He doesn't want to listen from people, just wants to do what he wants to do. He lives it like that. He doesn't like to be in social events where he's celebrating about someone else's success. He wants to only celebrate his own success. He doesn't want to appreciate people. He doesn't want to be with them. They are successful. They're receiving the accolades of their life. He always lies. He doesn't share his personal flaws. He only shares the good things of his life and expects people to share their flaws to him so he could make fun of them or something. Whenever he faces obstacles, he always gives up too easily. He doesn't have the motivation to keep going. He just gives up. One of the key insights that I learned from Mindset by Carol Dweck, our friend, our author, is the power of yet. And it's a very simple trick that you could start implementing, and it basically is trying to be more hopeful, trying to always tag the yet word onto every sentence, onto every self-limiting sentence that you have. So for example, if you're not good at reading, you say, I'm not good at reading yet. Instead of saying, I'm not good at reading. If you're not a good driver, you can say, I'm not a good driver yet. Instead of saying, I'm not a good driver. You don't want to have all these self-limiting sentences. And you probably heard about this famous quote, what you do in private is public. And I think it's very similar in this case too, where whatever you say really defines you. Whatever you say is who you are. Whatever you see is who you are. Whatever you eat is who you are. There's the example here's a quote and a really crazy research that was outstanding. In one study, we taught them that every time they push out of their comfort zone to learn something new and difficult, the neurons in their brain can form new and stronger connections. And over time, they can get smarter. Students who were not taught this growth mindset continued to show declining grades or difficult school transition. For those who were taught this lesson showed a sharp rebound in their grades. We have shown this now in this kind of improvement to thousands and thousands of kids, especially struggling students. Research was conducted only for college students or high school students, but it's very applicable for anyone apart from studying, just living. If you're a bad driver, then you can say I'm a bad driver. I'm not a good driver yet. If you're a bad reader, you can say I'm not a good reader yet. When you add the word yet as a tag to all the obstacles of the all of the self-limiting sentences, that's how you progress. That's how you really see changes. It's hard at first, but it gets easier after. So thank you for listening, and that is the crazy Jedi mindset. It's not as appealing as you probably saw, but when you really take some notes and when you really contemplate, and another suggestion that I definitely recommend is read that book, Mindset by Carol Dweck. And you'll learn a lot apart from these two key insights that I learned, but these are probably the two main things that you should understand. Also, another book recommendation is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The title is very cheesy, but ignore the title and just read the book. You read in paragraphs and go through the book. If you can't scan it, then probably skim through the book, but you'll probably learn something insightful, because Think and Grow Rich is not only about how to acquire wealth, but it's also about how to live a fulfilling and satisfactory life and have a meaningful and purposeful life. At the end, I don't really want to be a person with all the material possessions, but I want to have a meaningful life. I want to have a life that has rich relationships, rich quality, rich and meaningful life. Work harder on yourself than you work on your job. And thank you for watching, guys. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.